Hey guys, it is just past midnight actually on Wednesday, July 29th, which makes it Thursday, July 30th, but I had a kind of a busy day. Only got home about an hour ago, made myself some food. Anyway, enough with all that. Comic book review day. Actually, one more thing before we get two more things before we get started. Last video I said I'd be moving, and I haven't yet. This is just a different room, not an entirely different home. So quick that thing going on. And then second update, there will not be a video next week. I will actually be in England, which is not where I usually am. Not quite sure how to get comics in England. I mean, I'm sure there's a shop, but I'd rather just, enjoy my trip to a foreign land. So, now that the housekeeping stuff is out of the way, review comic book time. And because it is so late, I am going to try and make this quick so I can go to bed, so I can wake up, so I can go to work tomorrow, because I'm an adult. But yes, comic books. Starting off with Red Sonja, issue 17. This is actually Gail Simone's penultimate issue on the Red Sonja series. Next issue will be the last one, so this is her last little two-parter arc that she's working on. And, I mean, it's not as, I guess, high concept as some of the previous arcs, so you're not getting last arc. The big concept was Sonja forgot how to forgive people, and that's like pretty high concept. And this one is just Sonja. We begin the comic with a celebration. Sonja just defeated death, so good for her. She's still alive. Seems to have a kind of cordial relationship with death. But immediately after a win like that, you want to party hardy, and party Sonja does in this beautiful, just like, spread. I mean, it is gratuitous, but it's a celebration. This is the end of Gail's run, and Sonja finally gets all of the sex, so good for her. But then, of course, we need a bit more plot, and the plot involves Sonja being recruited by these nuns to help save their library. And in this, we find out that Sonja actually has a bit of a distaste towards library. She herself is illiterate, or not quite literate. She knows how to read, but not well. So she doesn't really see the point in defending this place with all of these books that she can't read. And Sonja's like, this is a dumb quest, I'm not going to do it. But her moralistic steed, as she's riding away, the horse, or she gets in a thing, the horse is telling her, no, you should go back. And so her moralistic steed eventually does convince her to return to the library. The library, by the way, is under threat from this person, Evil Queen, who basically got herself out of poverty because she's really pretty, and the prince married her, or the king married her, rather. King died, she's evil, and now she wants to get rid of all the books so nobody else can get the education they need to dethrone her. So that sort of thing, keeping education from the powerless so they can't become powerful and topple the powerful. That's kind of the thing we're going for. So yeah, Sonja does eventually return, kick some ass, and we are left. Yeah, great fight. I always really like Gail Simone's fights. She does put, it seems that she puts a lot of effort into scripting them. And Sonja is just brutal as ever. And we end this book with the Queen deciding to take matters into our own hands now that the library is protected. Yeah, so, like I said, not as high concept as some of these previous issues, some of these previous arcs, but should be a nice two-parter story already kind of wrapping up. I'm imagining we get a really cool duel in the next issue to look forward to, and I am kind of sad that Gail is off the book, but hopefully makes it a bit easier to, know, okay, because I am trying to cut down, that means I can at least drop this after the next issue, but I hope we end on a good note. Next up, we have Superman issue 42. And first, one good thing about, well, first, I do like the cover. Second, a good thing about this book, it is finally explained why Superman has diminished powers in all of these other books. Just a quick little spoiler, he ends up using a solar flare, and then this silver guy comes up from behind as he's using it and does something to him. We're still not exactly sure what. We have that solution. Bad news is that is kind of unfulfilling. We literally get a page that's supposed to explain everything else that has happened in like 6 other books so far. So not exactly the answer I was hoping for. I'm sure they're going to expand on it, but kind of a weak way, especially after how long we've waited for this explanation. But the main plot of this book, and it seems to be wrapping up this opening arc, or not opening, but the arc that started in 41 with this blue-haired girl and the spy agency that knows everything about her. She works for this agency called Hodor, Hordr, that gathers and sells data. Or information on basically everybody on Earth. They've been spying on Superman. They know Superman's secret identity is Clark Kent, and that is why this girl, Caseta, Condessa, my bad, Condessa. I went all dyslexic on her name there. But yeah, that's why Condessa ran away. She wants to prevent this evil info gathering corporation from completely holding the world hostage. We open the book actually with a quick fight scene, Superman versus some shadowy ninjas. He's still Clark Kent here and doing a really awful job of keeping his secret identity. And Lois Lane finally puts 2 and 2 together and discovers that Clark Kent is in fact Superman. So kind of a better reveal on how she found out with that part of the story that's been also kind of, hanging over these Superman books recently. But the rest of the book, besides those things I already showed off, involves Jimmy, Lois, and Superman breaking into Hodor, which is basically Google. Their base is called the Hodorplex, and because Google's home base is called Googleplex, and it's this giant information gathering service that's selling all this information on people and making money, and it's kind of big and ominous and evil-y. So yeah, it's Superman versus evil Google, and as I already kind of spoiled at the end of the book, Superman just blows everything up with a solar flare, and that's kind of how we end, with Superman blowing everything up. And erasing almost all the information that Hodor has on him. And yeah, that's pretty much Superman. I just covered everything that happens. Again, kind of unfulfilling explanations as to what's happening so far. I mean, I guess, yeah, they're probably going to develop it, but just, it feels like a throwaway almost, especially considering how much they've harped on it on all the other books so far. I just hope that this explanation is kind of worth all the setup and worth having all these issues to really just wasn't explained at all. Yeah, I hope this book improves and feels more fair later on as I keep on reading it. And is that everything I wanted to cover? Yep. So everything I wanted to cover for Superman, going over my notes. Next up, we have Batgirl issue 42, Batgirl and Batman, versus Livewire here. So last issue we left off with Batman and Batgirl kind of standing each other down, and that is quickly resolved. Batgirl runs away, Batman's like, you have 5 seconds, and Gordon quickly explains to Barbara that he doesn't want to hunt down the Bat family, so he has to keep up appearances though, so run away, make it lay low, and we'll all be good. And of course, Barbara is taking this as just another one of her father's attempts to protect her from things that she is fully capable of dealing with on her own. So setting up more of that kind of father-daughter dynamic that we now get in the Batman-Batgirl relationship that wasn't there before. Rest of this issue, I mean, a lot of this issue, we get a short explanation as to how Livewire's origins in the New 52 universe. Then a big chunk of this issue is the fight scene between Barbara, Livewire, and Batman. Let me see if I can find a good page to just really... Yeah, I guess this is a pretty good spread. This book, too, has really well-done fight scenes. I feel like each action gets a panel. And it's just very, very fluid, very fun to read. Everything feels like it has just enough oomph. And what I especially enjoy about this fight scene is we really see Batgirl take control. She comes in with a plan, and she is basically leading the charge against Livewire while Gordon is still figuring out what to do as Batman. And also that, of course, plays with the script we were given earlier, with Batman protecting Batgirl. This time it's Batgirl coming to Batman's rescue. She's more prepared. She knows how to fight this enemy. She's brought weaknesses to Livewire as a plan to trap her. So we really see Batgirl in control here and kind of leading the tempo. Kind of, if fights are dances, she's in the leading. She's leading, and Livewire is trying to play catch-up, as is Batman. It's a really cool fight dynamic. It's a really cool storytelling dynamic. Just really done fight scene, and gives plenty of exposition just in terms of character relationships, character development. Batgirl is the prepared one in this in this situation instead of Batman. And we end this book with a special character coming back to the story that's been out of the story for a few issues. Nice to see that character return. I know I'm excited for it. I'm sure plenty of other people are too. So yes, Batgirl. I'm really enjoying it. I was thinking, is this going to be on the chopping block? But no, I don't think it is, because as much of these stories are very different from the normal DC thing and not exactly what I'm expecting from DC, these are very good on their own merits. They definitely hold up both as comic books, as action books, and as character books. Even though the style's still very different, it's definitely holding its own. Cannot complain at all. And the next book we have is yet another Batgirl book, Batgirl Annual number 3. This is a very thick book, and what I like is that through this whole book there's one story, there's one through line, but we see it from many different angles. So we begin this book with Batgirl tracing this terrorist organization that has been kidnapping UN members in Burnside. So she goes to raid their headquarters. She runs into Helena Bertinelli, who is Dick Grayson's superior at Spiral, which is this other spy agency that has been working on the Grayson books. If you haven't been reading Grayson, again, heavily recommended, so start and you'll be a lot more caught up on this than I just did there. But it is Batgirl and Helena teaming up to raid this villain headquarters. Meanwhile, Grayson is also there and has to keep low so Barbara doesn't see him. Dick is supposed to be dead, and he doesn't want Barbara knowing otherwise. So you have this really fun cat and mouse game. As you have this fight, you have Batgirl and Helena breaking in to this building. You also have Grayson trying to stay one step ahead of everybody else and stay out of sight. Again, the art style is slightly changed from the normal Batgirl book, as you can see, but just as effective. The fight scenes work just as well in delivering that oomph. Every panel is a distinct action, and it's just incredibly fluid. One thing I wanted to point out, there's this page here. And I love how they do this. Left side, you have Batgirl throwing batarangs, and we see him hit immediately after. You don't ever see him fly through the air. We just know, throw, boom. It's like a quick punch. 1, 2, punch, oof, ow. I don't know what that was. That's performance art, I guess. But yeah, very, very clean art, very colorful. This is a bit more, I'd say, anime inspired, I guess, than the usual Batgirl art. As you can see, I guess more in the faces and the expressions. Um, Also great at building up tension. This one page I wanted to point out. Great with the tension. You have Grayson in one corner, Batgirl in the other, and they're getting closer and closer and closer before, of course, the tension is released. Um, but yeah, here's another page I wanted to show off. Kind of the more anime manga inspired kind of facial expressions you get in this book. Still very effective. Go very well with the art, which is very, very clean, very fluid. Just I love the action of this book. It is impeccably done. Really good story, and that is just the first half. Um, there's also a really neat bit at the end of this chunk of the story where Barbara may have picked up that Dick Grayson was there the whole time. But from there, we move on to that bit ends with the leader escaping. So we then catch up middle of the book with Batgirl meeting up with Spoiler, um, Stephanie Brown, and they have a short adventure together when they kind of track the leader down of the organization. And it is so great to see Stephanie Brown in comics. Apparently, she's also in Catwoman, but I haven't been reading Catwoman. But she's in this, and she is just so enjoyable. She's very happy-go-lucky, almost infectiously so. So this little chunk of the story was a joy to read. And again, the art, bright, saturated colors, which I'm always a fan of. The story continues with Batgirl teaming up with Batwoman as they have this kind of Wicker Man-inspired fight in the forest, or in a cornfield, rather. This is the true leader of the terrorist organization. Their name is Gladius. This is probably the weakest chunk of the book, and I think part of that has to do with the art style that just doesn't really blend in so well with the other styles in this book. It's a bit too hard and gritty, I feel. The other ones are more playful, more cartoony. This one's a bit too, I don't know, too hard around the edges, I guess. And we finished this book with Barbara meeting the main characters in Gotham High as they round out this story with Barbara investigating this terrorist organization. And that was just a cute way to end the book. So it's 4 kind of vignettes all linked together, all telling the same main plot, but each has a very different feel as Barbara teams up with all these different people. Each one is delivered very well. Each story feels distinct, or each chapter, rather, feels very distinct, but still connected to the whole. Just a very, very good single issue. If you've been iffy on picking up Batgirl, you're thinking if I can pick up one issue just to get a good feel, I would pick up this one. Very well done. Stories very well told. Fight scenes are excellent. And you get a lot of different art styles to try on. So really, really, really good book this week for Batgirl. Definitely, like I said, if you're just looking for something to try out, I would recommend this. I don't think you'll regret it. And the last book this week, another short week, a book I've been looking forward to for a long, long time, and one I am actually glad I can show you the cover of, because I did not know before I took it out of its blind back. Sex Criminals number 11. I am kind of disappointed I got the plain cover. At the same time, I know I can show it to you, which is, makes it a little better. Now, I've been waiting for this book a long, long time, and I have built this book up a lot in my mind, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed. At the same time, that is all me, because I've been waiting so long and building this book up so much. This is still excellent. Excellent, still one of, if not the best comics, or ongoings, rather, that I've read. And this issue is no different. Although we are starting a bit slower. It's the start of a new arc, another, I'm guessing, 5 issues little chapter here. And we're starting off with a kind of a like Batgirl, with a bunch of different vignettes in this world. So First chapter is regarding Douglas D. Douglas, who is one of the sex police we were introduced to in previous issues, and we get his backstory. We see his world from his point of view. He's a really nice guy. He's living with his mom. He's helping his elderly mom get around, make sure that she's comfortable. And we find out that that translates to his job. He is a orderly in a retirement home. He works with old people. And he's just a generally nice guy who likes helping people out. You really can't hate this guy. He's just so gosh darn likable. Like, Fred Rogers level likable. He just wants to help out. And this is offset a little bit. He's he likes to masturbate to Japanese porn, to Japanese schoolgirl porn, to be more specific. And, well, personally I say he's not hurting anyone. Let him do what he wants to do. But it's obviously supposed to set up a bit of a, I don't know, some sort of character flaw, I guess. We're supposed to judge him on this. It's, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's weird. I mean, it's not, I guess, expected. It's a nice little twist to his character, a nice little wrinkle there to add something interesting. But they set him up as such a nice guy, he's pretty much blameless. Like, if they just said outright, this guy's a pedophile, that'd be something else. But it seems like he has an innocent little fetish here. Just a really cute character, and I'm glad we got to know him. We then cut a little bit to our main heroes, to John, Susie, and Kincaid, Miss Kincaid, I forget her full name, Jasmine Kincaid, as they're investigating the sex police. They find out that they basically have information on thousands of people who all share this ability to stop time when they orgasm, and that's probably how Keagleface is getting the sex police to run. It's all blackmail, and that's goes, again, ties in with the Douglas D. Douglas story, like how would a nice guy be involved with all these other people? He's probably being blackmailed into it. There's then, can I show you these pages? These pages are a little risky. I'm going to fold it over, and I mean, there's no outright nudity, but we find out that John's therapist is having a bit of an affair with Keagleface, and we find out where that leads at the very end of this book. Kind of predictable, but just a very good scene. It's a sex scene, which is why I don't really want to show so much of it on YouTube because of their weird censorship things. I just don't want to risk anything. But just a really nice interaction between these two characters, who are so much different than the rest of the characters in these books. They're older, and they have just a very fun interaction here. We also catch up with in another sex scene with Robert Rainbow and Rachel, as they're experimenting a bit in the bedroom and getting used to their sex relationship. Yeah, then more of the story happens that I don't really want to spoil, but it involves sex and John and Susie kind of going to Miami. Yeah, so this book ends with John and Susie going to Miami to track down Douglas D. Douglas. And they go, as you can kind of tell from these panels here, they go full Miami Vice with it, which I enjoy because Miami Vice is pretty great. If you haven't seen the original 80s Miami Vice show, definitely an experience. A singularly unique aesthetic, I feel, just for the show. Great show to watch. Like, just watch the pilot. Really, really just full of style. So I'm enjoying how they go full Miami Vice with this comic. And yeah, that's pretty much all I feel comfortable showing. Of course, you get the best letters column in comic books. Again, letters are always the letters in Sex Criminals are pretty much always tied for the actual comic with the best, with what makes this worth buying. So just great stuff. Worth the wait. worth the wait entirely. And if you haven't already been keeping up with Sex Criminals, first two trades are out. That collects issues 1 through 10. I heavily recommend picking it up, getting back in the groove with issue 11. And that is it for this week in comic books or comic book reviews. Hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed reading this comics. So cool. As I said over this video, I am trying to kind of narrow down the amount of comics I read. My end goal is by October to have a set of 30 or so books that I am picking out month after month, and that's affordable. That's very doable for me. Again, if things change, I'll right now I'm hovering around the 40 mark. I managed to narrow it down. I think I'm like high 40s, and I want to get that down to, like I said, 30. So if you have any recommendations, any books that you definitely want me to keep reading, please let me know in the comments, and I will take that into consideration. If you've been watching these videos a lot, you'll probably guess the books I'm already, are on my definitely list. Batman, Sex Criminals, Saga. What else am I really enjoying? Howard the Duck, Spider-Man. Stuff like that, definitely going to keep on reading those. But other stuff, if you feel like I should definitely consider reading that still and you don't know whether I will or not, please let me know so I know to keep picking those up. Anything else? No, I think that's it. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you for doing so. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Like I said, any comments, anything whatsoever, feel free to leave them down below. If you feel like it, please subscribe. And yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you'll join me next week for more comic book reviews.